Do you think people think I'm tall?
No.
Probably not. What if this is an intense... You trust this person?
I would trust this person.
All right. Hello all, welcome back to Highly Mindful. I'm Miranda Ordóñez, and today we are talking about imposter syndrome. I have imposter syndrome, okay? Let's get it out now. I am having it currently as I'm filming for this show. My producer and I, who, it's funny calling him my producer. I am currently experiencing imposter syndrome by creating this show. I am, a smart person who is curious about things. I like to apply things I learn in my real life. And for some reason, that does not qualify me to create a YouTube channel about it. Question mark? So yeah, I had to get over a lot of thoughts about, am I sharing enough actual information, being like statistics or data or resources, and am I being funny enough for people who know me in real life and are now seeing me in this space, and am I being, academic enough for my future colleagues and to make sure that I'm appealing to them, and all of that is bullshit because this show is going to be whatever it ends up being anyway, which to me is a journal for my thoughts and my experiences with mental health challenges and lifestyle changes and just, crazy shit that happens in daily life. And also a way for me to help spread the knowledge that I'm learning in school, that I'm learning in therapy. I want a place to put all of that. Before shooting this video right now, I was talking to Ryan about what I wanted this show to look like. And he said something super important to me, which is that I don't have to do everything I want to do in every episode. And I think that's actually super applicable in many ways because I have always been an Energizer bunny trying to satisfy as many people as possible in my whole day or my whole life. I mean, I really left nothing for me. Imposter syndrome manifests itself in my life almost immediately through comparison. For example, when I decided to apply to get my master's in mental health counseling. So the first thing I did was think about the best person in that field who at the time and still probably is my current therapist. She's incredible. And so immediately I started comparing myself to this person who has had years longer in school, years in the field, who has incredible just intrinsic knowledge and wisdom, which everybody does to varying degrees. But immediately I was like, okay, how do I compare to her? Which is not healthy, to be frank. I, could easily point it back to being a dancer, of course, being in a leotard and tights in a mirror all the time, just looking at my body, looking at the body next to me, seeing my body move through space. I don't think I ever thought about my body until I became a dancer. And then suddenly it wasn't only thinking about it, it was thinking about it in comparison to others, especially as we start to grow and mature. That being said, I don't just jump to how I compare to somebody physically because that doesn't matter to me as much in this space in my life, but I do immediately jump to, the smartest, the hardest working XYZ person in the room. And it's not fair to me or them to put them in that space. Because for me, I deserve to create my own lane. I deserve to experience things in an intersectional way for the first time and the only time because I'm me. And you get to do that too. And that's so fucking cool. So to immediately jump to compare my knowledge or my experiences or my wisdom to somebody else is absolutely a fool's errand. And I know that now. And that being said, it doesn't stop it from happening when those feelings creep up. This is me giving my best case scenario to you and to myself right now. But in reality, when I'm in a moment of, oh shit, I don't think that I can do this, I do jump to those patterns. I think that I've made a huge leap in being able to name that's a pattern and to be able to really quickly reel it in. It used to really consume me before. So once I was able to conceptualize that I was feeling that back in that time when I was contemplating grad school, I brought it up to my therapist. And the conversation that we had, I honestly can't even pick out a detail from the conversation because I just remember how I left feeling, which was so empowered to just go and do. So I think I was just getting super pigeonholed and really idolizing my therapist, which is a whole other video. And to be able to name that and talk about it was so freeing. We should all be doing exactly what we want to do. Of course, that is a big grand thought, but I think that, calling out imposter syndrome in its tracks is gonna help us get there. So I have a lot of mixed feelings about entering this space. I'm just gonna go ahead and be super transparent and say that I was a wee bit of a bully back in my day. And please know that any time that I smile or like giggle while talking about this, it is absolutely a defense mechanism, because that was a stressful period where, you know, some of us go through these very strange ego shifts and a lot of being just not nice to people. So I worried pretty much like from the moment I pitched a show to Ryan, I was worried that people from my hometown who I was not nice to as a child were gonna be like, first of all, this girl's gonna be a therapist. Second of all, she has a YouTube channel. Third of all, she's talking about being a therapist on the YouTube channel. I mean, I just like instantly got rushed with like stress that people who I wronged would find it ridiculous for me to be in this space. And I actually think that's really fair. It's a little self-centered of me to imagine that these people think of me at all. Okay, so that's number one. There is no telling that any of the people who I ever disturbed are thinking about this or have found me in their circles at all, and more power to them. The second thing is that, you know, they've also grown. You know, we are different people now. I was a little bit mean back in my day. I'm not proud of it. I have moved on. If you or anyone you know has been harmed, no, that's too mean. Don't add that in there. My point is that that is something I worried about, is my perception of the people who knew me when I was a lot younger or a lot different, and how they would perceive my trying to help or, you know, spread positive mental health resources and things like that. I'm also worried about shaping up to my peers and my future colleagues. I mean, some of the people I've met in my program already have done incredible work throughout their careers, and I feel a little bit behind. And so in sharing something like this, I feel a little bit amateur compared to some of the people that I already am learning with and from. And I think on the flip side of all of that, in the entertainment space as a creator and an entertainer, I mean, I've got a big personality. I love to talk. I love to engage and schmooze and woo and all of the things. And that side of me really wants this to do well. And I know that sometimes a project doing well doesn't always coincide with it going how you want it to go. And seeing examples of my artist friends who have created projects that went south or just didn't turn out how they wanted it to stressed me out, because some of the most talented people I know have projects that they walked away from for whatever reason. And I think that freaks me out, because at my core, I love stability, I love entertainment, and I love connection. And those three things all wrap up in this channel, but it wasn't so easy to see that while I was creating the idea. Another thing to consider when creating this channel in this space, obviously, is that marijuana is a part of it. I love her. She's a friend of mine. It took me a while to be able to even admit that I use cannabis, and I had to really think about why I feel that way. And a lot of it, of course, like so many things, go back to my family and issues, you know, with extended family members with drug use and with addiction and things that are very serious. And that scariness and that kind of legacy that drugs have left on my family and on the perception of people who do drugs in where I grew up, that really stuck with me in a way that I didn't realize. I 100% view myself as a progressive person, but then as soon as I started to pull back as a regular cannabis user, where if I was a regular anything else user, like alcohol, you know, socially drinking alcohol, or a show that I'm into, anything, I would be more likely to talk about it in social circles. But suddenly weed, I was a little nervous to bring that in. So I had to think about why I feel that way and what it means to be a cannabis user or a smoker or a stoner or whatever. Does that make me less professional? Does it make me less trustworthy or less reliable? And the answer is no. For me, the plant has made me a lot more tolerable, honestly, to myself, and I'm sure to others. I breathe a lot deeper, literally and figuratively. I laugh a lot more. I don't take things quite as seriously, and it's not something that I lean on. It's just something like, you know, a pair of fun sunglasses that you put on a sunny day that can just take you on a different type of experience. And while I don't smoke before incredibly important meetings or like while operating heavy machinery, I certainly use it to be a looser and more joyous person. And I would be crazy if I didn't incorporate that into my creative pursuits as well. And I think that a lot of people are curious about cannabis, and there's so much information out there, but it's coded behind really intense language and a lot of laws and warnings, and it's hard to figure out what you actually like and what's good for you. A lot of our first experiences with weed happened at a party with a group of people who we weren't sure about, and you know, we didn't feel totally safe, or we weren't sure exactly what we were smoking. That's all completely normal, and things are so different now. If you want to keep getting highly mindful, which I will assume you do, then the only possible next step is to like and share and subscribe and comment and do all of the things, because I want this community to grow and I want to engage with you.